me, Rita Kakati-Shah, your host for the Uma Show. Welcome to your one-stop journey for feeling empowered. We're a platform for change. We build confidence. We are your voice. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by Goddess of Go-Getting, Dr. Leena Banerjee Brown. She's joining us all the way from California. She is an author, a psychologist, a mother, and a spiritual practitioner of true light. Welcome, Leena. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. And thank you, Rita, for your inspiring and for your generous work and this very, presence-generating style of collaborating. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, it's an honor to have you here today. So really, I wanted to, dive right into the conversation. Let's start by talking a bit about your heritage, your childhood, and how you grew up.
So I'm, as you said, in California, in Pasadena right now, in the Los Angeles area. And I came here through a long journey, which began in India, where I was brought up. And I lived all over India, traveling and living all throughout the country because of my parents' service in the Indian Army. And then, I had a short stay in the UK and then came to the USA. Yes. I'm also from a Bengali family. So Bengali is my mother tongue. That's important. The language of the heart. So there's that. And I have a family. I have a husband and 3 wonderful young adult children. My oldest son is from my first marriage, and my younger son and my daughter are from my second marriage. And we have raised all 3 children as one sibling cohort. And then when my older son, became a young adult, he started his own company. And his business partner lost both his parents and came to live with us for a long time. So I consider him a son of mine as well. So it's a full plate.
I love it. Oh, Leena, thank you for sharing that. And what a wonderful family you have. So thank you for that. Now, obviously, you mentioned you're from Bengali descent. I'm an Assamese myself, so very close part of the world to yourself. And as we know, in the South Asian, particularly in northeastern Indian side, education is very important. It's given a huge focus. Can you talk to us a little bit about your background in terms of education and what you did initially for your career?
Yes. So, I was very much on track for higher education. I was sort of a nerdy kid anyway, bookworm and nerdy kid. So in terms of higher education, I studied psychology and University of Delhi, University of Oxford, and Virginia Tech, all the way to a PhD. And then I had my first license in Utah, where I was for a year, and then in California, another license. So I've been a licensed psychologist for many decades. That was my journey. And in terms of the work that I've done with that, I've had the chance to play many different kinds of roles in the profession. I've served as a full professor of clinical psychology. I've practiced in communities, mainly underserved communities, serving children and families, and training graduate students. I've had lots of graduate students over the years, many of whom are also kind of like extended family. Also had the chance to supervise the work of younger professionals over time and then contribute to the scholarly literature. I always had a bit of the writer in me. So that was something that I used to do, in terms of professional writing. And now, as you were saying, I have a new book and been writing in a different way for everyone.
That's amazing, Leena. Thank you for sharing that. And I love how you, you talk about youth, you talk about development, but also you talk about how you everyone becomes part of your family. And I think that's really how the energy that I certainly picked up from you when we first spoke, and it's really, really coming across in everything that you do and the work that you're talking about. So obviously we mentioned that you're an author, introduction, yes. And spirituality is a big part of who you are. I have here a copy of your book, which I'm so proud to own and have. So thank you so much for this. Very enthralling read, and I'm looking to get more and more stuck into this. It's a really, really beautiful book. So I would like to now shift gear a little bit and talk a little bit about the spirituality. Can you talk to us about the inspiration behind your book? What do you mean by true light?
Yes. So true light is divine energy and wisdom. And so is a training that we can take, and then, a practice that can become a part of our daily life. And it's really an effort to help each other develop from deep inside, and to switch to knowing and unknowing, self-centeredness, material-centeredness, things that are part of all of us, especially as we kind of shine a little light on it, reflect a little, and switch it to selflessness and spirit-centeredness, the joy of the pure joy of those aspects, those deeper aspects that are also in all of us. And it makes tremendous difference in the way in which we experience gratitude for the small things in the everyday, the big things, the way we harmonize with nature, the way we are inclined to take care of the environment, and so many other things. It's mainly, it's difficult to actually put in words, but it is very easy and very wonderful to experience.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about true light. It's energy. It's divine energy and wisdom.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit. Obviously, you mentioned your background, psychology, teaching, and then you mentioned the spiritual connection. Talk to us about, how do we connect the dots? How did you get from one to becoming the spiritual self and writing this beautiful book?
So for the last 10 years, I've had an interdisciplinary group called Circles. So this consists of psychologists who are open to spiritual practice, and a spiritual instructor of the practice of true light. And so we've been meeting monthly with the goal of self-training in spirit-centeredness, collegially, and then to have the chance to share this with others. So the book my book, True Light, Ordinary People on the Extraordinary Spiritual Path of Sukyo Mahikari, was a first effort. And Sukyo Mahikari is also a name that we, of our practice of true light. And Sukyo means universal laws, and Ma is truth, and Hikari is light. So it is also the practice of the universal principles of true light. So yes. So we have centers all over the world, and it's very easy to experience this for anyone who would like to. So one of the things that has come out of this effort in terms of a bridge and sharing with the world has been the book, and then we are working right now on a series of online courses called the Spirit-Centeredness series. And this is for mental health professionals, to start off with. We are focusing on that, but we have developed exercises together, and we have been using them ourselves, and we very much want to share this with others to use in workplaces, either to use individually or in dyads or in small organic groups. And they can be in formats of reflection circles to do the exercise in small circles, or they can be light and reflection circles for those who want to experience and learn how to give light as well, to give and receive light, and then to do reflection together. So that's kind of the direction we're going, and that's our hope.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love how you just connect your professional life, your passion together with actually helping. And, mental health, to your point, is something that's so important. And the fact you're focusing the training and education that way. So next, I really want to talk a little bit about challenges. Obviously, as a professional, in the psychology space, you are dealing with challenges of others so much, and you help to compartmentalize, you help to problem solve, you help to kind of figure out a plan really in life. How about you personally? Obviously, it's something that we all have to deal with in life, and they strengthen you over time, right? So could you talk to us about a personal or professional challenge that you had yourself, and then what you did to overcome that?
Sure. Like three things pop up, but I'll let's start with the first one. The first one goes back a long time to when I first came to Pasadena. So picture this: I'm in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm a single mother. And I have a new role at the university as an assistant professor. And, I'm looking forward to this new chapter, and my director welcomes me, very excited, welcomes me on board, the faculty, and then he gives me this whole slew of responsibilities, and then he gives me some more. And so I remember that moment, and I remember thinking, I could get overwhelmed, but I have a wonderful set of opportunities to go forward, and to get it right, I have to get it right with my son and myself. And I just remember thinking that at the moment, and I turn to him and I say, my first priority is my son. And I have to make sure that he and I land on our feet. And I will fulfill all my responsibilities to the best of my ability. But I want you to know what my priority is, what my first priority is. And I really hope that you will appreciate that. And I remember just kind of, saying this from the heart, and just kind of saying that to ground myself in a moment that could have easily been overwhelming, following a series of events that had been quite overwhelming and traumatic anyway. So I thought I had to do that. And here I see my director's face. He's like a little bit shocked, a little bit speechless. And I get the feeling from the nonverbals that, I've said something I really shouldn't have said. So I let it go. I feel okay about what I've said, and everything works out, because anyway, I keep up, my end of the bargain. But what was really very moving several years later was that he came by one day. We used to have these retreats before the academic year started, and we were having one of those retreats. And during lunchtime, he came by and sat next to me and started talking with me. And he shared that the deepest pain in his life had been that he and his wife were childless. And he said that, he had realized that because of that pain, and because of not, deeply resolving or deeply facing that pain, he would tend to overcompensate in the workplace by being very intense with his work and with others at times. And that he really appreciated the chance that I had to raise my son and to grow together. Yeah, I mean, it moves me even now, to think at how much he had opened up to himself and how much he opened up to me. And so it was one of those moments that stays with me, because it tells me that, if we are grounded and clear and confident, then it not only helps us, but it can really help someone else. It can help others too. And that kind of communication capacity we all have, it's like, the surprises can come from very unexpected places when we are kind of communicating like that. Because if you look at the externals, I'm a brown, young, immigrant woman, rookie at the time, and you have white, male, authority figure, pretty high up in the, career ladder. Then those things are real, but there are things more real beyond that. So that's one story that comes to mind, where so barriers broke down, and I didn't even know it at the time, but later I came to know that that was a good thing to have done.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that, because it shows you, to your point, you're grounded, you have that confidence, that communication, that clear communication, but it's also back to the spirituality part of it. It's your conscious, it's you being open and honest with yourself.
Yes.
And that sense of liberation, regardless at that point of how the conversation went and how it was received, is actually, what opens up a lot of barriers. Yes. So thank you for sharing that, because I think it keeps it really real in terms of the challenges that so many folks face in this world, and what can be done about it when somebody actually understands and works with you to try and open back up and said, you know what, thank you for sharing that, because this is something that I've not even had the chance to share myself and do. So
yes,
that's a really, really powerful example. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I appreciate that. So switching gear a little bit, obviously your work is very involved, very deep in a lot of ways. What do you like to do for fun?
Oh, honestly, giving light is a joy for me. It's very fun. And there's like one day a month where I actually give light all day at the center. There's a Pasadena center close by. We have 3 centers in Los Angeles, but the one in Pasadena is very close to my home. I spent a lot of time there, usually go there every day. And now we've also been able to build a small home center. So it's just part of an evolving effort with the whole family. But giving light all day is honestly the most rejuvenating thing. And so many deep things happen and change in other people's lives. Our perception grows, especially for psychologists use their minds, but everybody uses their minds, So it really makes so much more available.
Yeah.
I remember, one of my favorite poets was Blake, who spoke about if the doors of perception were cleansed, we would see things as they truly are, infinite. And I think it's that, there's joy in kind of striving for that, moving towards that. So that's something that's a very joyful part of my life, is giving light. But there are other things too. I mean, I really like writing letters. I don't know, I grew up with that. And till today, I will sit down and write a letter by hand. And I can't tell you, whoever I write to will say how happy they were, how special it is. And my question is, why don't we?
Yeah.
Why don't we write letters? It's such a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
So
it's so wonderful that you shared that, Leena, because it's all about what you give, not about the receiving. And also, when I received your book in the post, I remember opening, that beautiful note you wrote me. Oh my gosh, it touched my heart. So I totally understand that. And I grew up in the UK, at the age of having pen pals. We didn't have the internet back then in the early day, right? And just that moment, that sort of like angst, that sort of thrill of opening up a mail in the post with that stamp on it and then sending one back, a couple of weeks later. It's just such a powerful meaning of unity and communication, to your point. And it means so much more. So thank you for sharing that, that your one moment of fun is what you give to others. And I think that really resonates in who you are really as a person. And you are that true light that you write about. Thank you for that. So before we let you go, Leena, what advice would you give to any young girls or women that are watching this show today that want to follow in your footsteps?
Go deep. Your spirit really matters. Try to find a disciplined path to train your spirit and tap into its deep and vast positivity, because you will be choosing the path of your well-being for the long course, and along with the collective well-being. And that is something that is so important today and in the forthcoming future. And the technology, it's developing and advancing all the time. It's very wonderful. But so long as the human core, the human potential is truly developing, then technology takes its place, its rightful place, and eases human life rather than runs it. So that's something that I know that you have the wisdom to discern that and to take care. So thank you.
Wonderful words to end on. Go deep. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Leena, for sharing your incredible journey with us today. And thank you to our viewers for joining us on this empowerment journey. We want you all to embrace that inner goddess of go-getting. We want you to be bold, be you, be Uma.